this conversation brought to you by White House Custom Color. I'm Jed Toffer. And today I get to hang a little bit with Dani Diamond from New York City. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But originally from Ohio. We're gonna get to that. But right now we are at the Push Conference 2018. You can go to thepushconference.com for more information. We are in Greencastle, Indiana this year. So who are you, Dani Diamond? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm 28. Mm-hmm. I am married with twins that are a year and a half old.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's my full-time job.
we could talk about that. We could do a series of podcasts on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tips of being a dad of twins while trying to do photography. I'm a retired photographer. I work full-time for my wife now.
Oh, no doubt. I bet that's true.
For sure. So yeah, I'm 28 years old. I started photography when I was 20. Mm-hmm. And I moved from Ohio to Connecticut right about 18 years old to go to business school in Connecticut. And photography was obviously not my choice of career. I never even considered it, but it's something that I eventually just fell into, and I fell in love with it. I'm like, that's it. I'm done with school. Let me just jump into photography and do that full time. So
this was while you were in college?
Yeah, this was right at the end. This was literally like the last month before I graduated.
Did you graduate?
Yes, I graduated.
You graduated?
I graduated. Yes, absolutely. And I guess everyone's plan when going to business school is eventually to own your own business. So I guess it kind of worked out.
Right.
But I mainly shoot fashion and portrait work in New York City. I live in Connecticut, so it's close to New York City.
But you shoot in the city?
Correct. I shoot in the city and throughout the states as well. But that's primarily what I do. I shoot fashion and portrait work.
What was it like for you to make that jump initially? Like you're in college, and then apparently at some point you fall in love with photography, right? And was it like a huge shift in your mind then about, from going from a business school atmosphere to who knows what you're going to do,
right,
to then now I'm going to be my own boss. I'm going to start my own business, and it's going to be in the arts.
Right. So it was a 2 or 3 year process from when I finished school to when I did photography really full time. I always did other side jobs on the side. I was a barber for a couple years, since my whole family is a bunch of barbers, and so I was doing that for income. And then when I got into photography, I was just taking odd and end kind of jobs. Like I was shooting watches for a year for a friend, and I was just doing I did a wedding once, no, one and done situation.
Right.
But I basically just took every day, one day at a time, just took whatever jobs came my way until I'm like, you know what, this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to brand myself. And I stuck to one thing out of the 20 different genres I was doing at the time. And like I said, I was just holding on to just different jobs on the sides. I was installing security cameras at one point. I was doing whatever it took to just save money and get married and start my photography business. And once I got into the photography business, I didn't even look back.
You just kept going.
I just kept going. Even though there were months that it was super slow, especially in the fashion world. There are months that there's no work, and then there's months that there aren't enough days in a month. But I learned how to just keep myself occupied throughout the year with different hobbies, and that kept me healthy and continued keeping my mind occupied.
So would you attribute I'm asking, but it sounds as though it would make sense to attribute your current success to hard work.
Oh yeah. Right? There's no like easy action in Photoshop that you can click and then suddenly make money, life does not work that way.
I haven't found it yet.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't found the right action. But yeah, it's so competitive. It's such a saturated market. When I was starting, it wasn't as bad as now. We didn't have Instagram. We barely had Facebook. Now that we have those two, and every single person is a photographer these days,
right,
it's not easy at all. So unless you're working hard and you're doing something unique and you're marketing yourself well, it's very hard to make it now.
So in a sense, social media is kind of a double-edged sword. Would you say
Absolutely.
That's true?
Absolutely. If used correctly and if you got into the market early enough, you'll have an easier time.
Right.
If it's something like today, you're like, you know what, maybe I should consider doing photography. It's
harder to break in now.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. So what did you do? I noticed we were talking before this. You have like 274 billion followers. Probably 1,000 instead of billion. But you have a lot of followers. What was that intentional? Like, did you start at the beginning and think, I'm going to turn this into something that I can make work for me business wise?
So I did not think that I was going to grow a following and then use that to make a successful business. Mm-hmm. That's not the route I took. For me, it was really just, I really enjoyed the feedback I was getting on social media. So what I did is I made it my goal to satisfy people's eyes. Yeah. So if I knew that they like a specific kind of portrait at a specific time of the day with a specific kind of caption, that's what I fed them. And I just kept on doing that over and over. And all while showing personality, but not too much personality, trying to be humble, trying to answer everyone's questions and comments. They took the time to comment and message you. You got to take the time to message them back. And I still do that to this day. And to help the Photography Society, I screenshot any important questions that come my way, and I put that on my Instagram stories. So by just making sure to help others and give to the community, that automatically brings people, attracts people to your page and your work. If you're just there to show off your work and nothing else, unless you're insanely amazing, it's going to be hard to build a following. So what I found is if I'm out there to help people, then people are going to find me. They're going to come to me. I don't have to beg anyone to follow me as long as I'm helping the Photography Society. And through that, I built a large following, and random people who are not photographers found me. And then based on that following, eventually there are clothing lines that came my way through that.
So you've gotten, or you do continue to get quite a bit of work from Instagram.
Yeah, most of my work is, a lot of it is word of mouth, and at this point I have the same 25, 30 clients that come to me every season.
Okay.
But anyone that does find me is really because of Instagram and because they've been following my work and they decided to send me a message. And
so you're not putting a lot of time, effort, or money into marketing outside of
Absolutely
that?
Not.
You don't have to?
I don't have to. No, Instagram and social media and very little word of mouth is where it's at now.
What do you advise people to do, though, given what we were saying earlier about how hard it is to break in now to Instagram? What do you advise people to do now if they want to be seen, right?
So this is a tough question. And if I would be completely honest, and I was the one to be getting into photography now, I would, and I suggest this to people all the time, just get a job that pays you well, do photography on the side for yourself, post it on social media. Yeah. But to get into the market now is really not easy, and you're taking a chance. And this is where starving artists, that's where the saying comes from. Right. Like, you're literally going to have to starve yourself. Right. And it's not something that's just going to happen overnight unless you have some kind of genius idea and you're great at marketing.
But that's the reality of it right now.
Yeah, that is.
Because so many people are doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's just so many people doing it.
So you wouldn't say don't do it. You would just say don't rely on it.
Right. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Kind of like find a job that pays you well, keeps you comfortable, and on the side do photography. If you see it taking off, then jump into it. But to just say I'm gonna do photography now, it's really hard. And I know it's hard for people to hear this, especially people who are going to school for photography and people getting into it. But I'm just saying it as it is. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy ride at all. Even to this day, with the clients I have and with the little of the following I have, I still, there are 2 months every single winter where I'm in the basement doing woodworking or I'm outside doing gardening because I'm just not busy enough, and that's just the way the fashion industry works. They only want shoots twice a year in a 2-3 month period.
Right. What do you get scared about?
At this point I've learned to conquer the fear. Yeah. But when I first started and there were months without work, that scared me. And my wife remembers this, and she reminds me all the time. You remember when you came home one day and you're like, "That's it. I'm selling my stuff on Craigslist, and I'm going to work at McDonald's." Like I said that. I've said that to my wife so many times. I'm like, I'm done with this. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm losing my mind. I'm not the kind of guy who could sit on the couch and watch TV. You know, that's not me.
Well, you must have been afraid because you said you're going to go work at McDonald's.
Exactly. And but then what I did is I said, you know what I got to do is I'm good with saving money. So it wasn't a financial issue. It was just I'm not busy now, and I'm losing my mind because I'm not busy. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I always had a love for woodworking, so I really got into it and made myself a full-fledged workshop in the basement, and we got really into gardening, and these are just things that really use up my time, and it keeps me young, it's good.
Given all that, do you have a plan B?
I don't. At this point, I feel like I'm well established enough that it'll be a long time before photos go out of style.
Well,
and and if I really had to and I was pressured into it, I could go find another job, or I could start doing other genres of photography. It's not like I only love fashion.
Right.
If I had to, I would go more into the commercial world and just work more of that kind of jobs, because they do come my way and I turn them down because it's something I don't absolutely love doing.
Commercial stuff.
Correct.
Yeah. Tell me this. How did it work from a Midwestern boy from Ohio to make it in the big city?
Oh, I don't know what it means by make it, but I still have not made it. I go to New York City to shoot. I love New York City, but it's not some place for me to live. And I think it's mainly because of the way I was raised. My wife is from Brooklyn. If I told her I want to move to New York City tomorrow, she'd be packing. She probably already is packed. She's ready to go to New York City.
She's ready to go back.
My wife grew up in Brooklyn, so she is ready to go back to the city anytime.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But for me, I grew up out of town. My mom, I remember, had to send my brother out to find me in the backyard every single day in the summer because I hated the indoors. And I was all about the backyard, riding bikes, hanging out with friends, blocking off the street and playing basketball. Yeah. That's the way I grew up. And I don't know the city life. That I just know the country life. And so for me to move to New York City, I knew that I got to be near New York City for my work and my school when I was there, but I want to be just far out of New York City enough to have a driveway, to have a backyard, and to own my own home and not be in a little studio apartment in New York City. So it's something that I never did adjust to. I never adjusted to living in New York City. It's something I do need. I need to be near it, but and I love it. And I know every single street corner and every single corner of New York City. I've walked that city back and forth countless times, but I'm still always going to be an out-of-town boy.
Really?
Absolutely.
What makes you, as a result of all of that, and considering where you come from, how are you different than a city boy?
Let's see. I guess I prefer to be at home and building something with my hands, doing something creative with my hands in my home, than staying out at night and partying with friends, hitting up restaurants and bars. I'm just more about the relaxed, enjoyable life, versus the jumping around, having fun, partying life. They're just two different lives, and I see this from outside perspective, but when I go into New York City and I see people, they're so busy, they're on their phones, they're just looking straight ahead, walking, trying to go from point A to point B, that they forget to look up and down sometimes. That I'm like, these people are working 2-3 jobs to pay for their apartment, which they probably will never even own, and they're going to be paying rent for the rest of their life in New York City, and they're working so hard to pay for that lifestyle that they don't even get to enjoy the life. I mean, you see that all the time. I'm in New York City every day shooting, and these people are just so busy with their work that they don't sit back and just look up at the sky and take a deep breath and just sit and relax. And for me, my life, I don't work to work. My life is not about working. For me, my job, yes, it's enjoyable. I love doing photography. But at the end of the day, if I wasn't getting paid doing it, I probably wouldn't do it. And I would just do it for fun here and there.
Right.
But for me, it's about working twice a week, doing 2 fashion shoots a week, and then going home and playing with my twins and walking. I take them for a walk every single day.
Yeah.
There aren't that many dads that could say that at 11 a.m. I'm taking my twins for a walk.
Yeah. There's like 4.
Yeah.
4 dads. You're one of the 4.
Yeah, but that is what I want in life. That's what I want. I want to be able to just spend time and enjoy life. I don't want to wake up at 65 and be like, holy man, what happened to my life? I've been working.
Are you ever tempted by the allure of the rat race? I mean, not of the rat race piece of it, but like I don't know, the lifestyle, the fun, the glamour that seems like it comes along with it. Do you ever feel yourself getting drawn in?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Is that the Midwestern boy?
It could be
grounded.
Yeah, probably is. Probably is, because I know that my 5 other siblings are the same way. They're the same way. Yeah, they live everywhere. They live in Florida, Maryland, and they all have that same mentality. I think that's what happens when you're born out of town. I know tons of models and artists that I work with in New York City that are all from out of town, and they move to the city and like, man, the city is where it's at. I love it. There's tons of people like that.
Right.
I'm not saying that being born out of town means that you love to stay out of town for the rest of your life.
I look at you as an anomaly, quite honestly. Yeah. I mean, I feel as though most people that do or have a path that looks similar to yours, at least from the outside, are really caught up in the lifestyle that is surrounding the city, right? New York City in particular. And it seems as though that's just not who you are. And yet, you're involved in an industry that is pretty glamorous. You're a fashion photographer, for goodness sake. I mean, and it seems as though it could be so easy for someone in your position to get caught up in that. And you just haven't.
Yeah, I think another reason is because I settled down with my life in my early 20s. I got married and I had twins just a couple of years ago, and that kind of grounds you. Once you're married and you got kids, you're not gonna just get up and move into an apartment in New York City.
That's an understatement, right?
Yeah. So I think that made a big difference. Just being a family man at an early age, that really grounded me, and I would never even consider that busy New York City life.
So you're at the end of your 20s, essentially. What do your 30s look like for you, you think?
Oh, that's a hard question, because I could tell you what my 20s, what my goal was in my 20s.
I would love to hear that.
And
that's a good way to start.
Yeah, because I'm going to turn 30 in a couple months, and I always told myself when I started photography that there's not just life, not just photography, that there's certain things that I want to have by the age 30. One of them was to have a wife, kids, own my home, have 2 cars, and just have a job where I feel secure. And once I had all that, I got that just whatever over the past 10 years. I told myself, okay, the last thing that I want before I hit age 30 is to make sure I have a name in the fashion world, and to have a portfolio, a printed portfolio. This is something that's so overlooked. People are like, why do you need a printed pictures? You just have iPads, you have Instagram, just let people see that. But I'm the biggest believer that you need an actual printed portfolio, and I'll explain. There are images that I took 6-7 years ago that no one sees anymore, because it's all the way at the bottom of my feed on Instagram. People saw it, and it just doesn't come up anymore. When I have a printed portfolio that I just started working over the past year on, I was able to print out my 40, 50, 60 favorite images of all time. I'm able to put it in a tangible form. Yeah. I'm able to walk around with it tucked under my arm, and I could show it to people. And the wow factor of a printed portfolio is 10 times that of an iPad, that people just swipe the screen. They just keep swiping, and they don't ever like really look at the image. Maybe 1 out of 10 images they'll do it too. But when it's printed and it's 17 inches by 20 inches right in your face, it's like, wow, and I knew that I didn't want to do it when I was 22. I knew that I'm going to wait all the way until right before I'm 30. That last year before I'm 30, I'm going to build up all those experiences, build up a killer portfolio, and then at that age, right before I'm 30, I am going to go and print everything I did until now. And that's what I did. And now I have a printed portfolio that I walk around with every day.
So that was your 20s.
That was my 20s.
And you can check those boxes off.
I could.
Now I'm even more intrigued to find out what your 30s has in store for you, because when you hit 40, I can't wait to see what those boxes are.
You're gonna have to come back to me in 6 months and ask me what I'm planning on doing in my 30s. But honestly, that I didn't reach for like the stars. I didn't. I'm a believer that you gotta just make goals that are attainable, and then you could just conquer one at a time easily. I mean, somewhat easily, and that makes you feel accomplished, and that gives you confidence, and that just makes you feel fulfilled. And in my 30s, I just want to raise my kids. That's it. I just want to
be a good dad.
I just want to keep doing photography, keep doing my hobbies, but raise my kids. At this point in life, I think it's just about raising kids, and in a world that's so hard to raise kids these days and the stuff that's going on, I think that being a dad and being a mom for my wife is our number one goal at this point.
That sounds great to me. What sort of advice would you give to somebody right now? I mean, you're here at this conference. You're going to be speaking in like 20 minutes. It's insane that we were even able to fit this in. What advice would you give? Like, you're going to be standing up there in front of, 50, 60 people. What advice would you give them if you had a chance? I mean, you're going to, but there's going to be other people listening to this. What do you have to say to people right now?
It sounds so cliche. You just have to find things that make you happy, things that make you feel confident, and just pursue them. And the only thing that will help you accomplish any kind of success is by being ambitious. Looking back at my class in middle school, I remember that there were maybe 10 genius kids, and then there were 10 kids that were not smart at all. And I was one of those kids. I was not smart. I barely got A's unless I cheated. Oh. And I just remember that the kids who work hard and are ambitious and passionate about something get so much further than kids who are smart but lazy. Because maybe in school you get good grades, but in life it doesn't work like that. Mm-hmm. In life it's all about working hard and being ambitious. And so that will make you successful in photography. If social media is important to you, that will make you successful in social media. Just working hard and being ambitious. Don't do it about the money. Make it all about just your passion. And if you're doing something just for the money, it's going to be hard. You're going to have a hard time because
it's going to be harder, right?
Yeah, it's going to be hard because you're going to wake up one day and be like, I don't really enjoy it. Okay, so I'm getting paid, but I don't enjoy it. When you're doing something you love, there are so many shoots that I do to this day that I'm not getting paid for, but I'm doing it because I enjoy it. They're not fashion work, but like just creating art and portfolio material for me and my Instagram. And so the only way I'm able to continue going and bulldozing forth is just doing what I love.
Where can people find you?
People could find me at my home in Connecticut. Oh, no, I'm kidding.
Stay away from his home in Connecticut. Don't go to Connecticut.
I'm on social media. So if you just Google Dani Diamond, Dani, on Instagram, Facebook, 500px. And if you're a photographer and you're looking for tips and articles and stuff like that, you could look on fstoppers.com. I wrote articles for them for 2 years until I ran out of ideas. And the day I ran out of ideas, I'm like, that's it. I'm not gonna just write to write.
I'm done.
I quit writing right when I hit that roadblock with ideas to write articles on. But I wrote a lot of viral content on there about portrait work, even landscape stuff, business, all kinds of stuff. So definitely hit up my F-Stoppers articles. And the last place would be on rggedu.com. They are an educational video content website, and I have a tutorial with them.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I couldn't believe it when you said that you would do this right before you were going to get up and talk to people.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Enjoy the rest of Push 2018, and I will see you next time.
Thank you so much. It was great meeting you.
Thanks, man.